WGEM News is following breaking news.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lesley Van Ness. The city of Quincy is in a state of emergency tonight. That after a severe storm slammed the tri-states. Power lines, trees, and traffic lights all down, buildings blown apart, and much of the city is in the dark tonight. The city has set up an emergency command center to deal with all of this, and that is where my colleague Gene Kennedy is live tonight with the very latest. Gene, what can you tell us?
Well, Lesley, good evening. Right behind me here, we've got police, fire, emergency crews, central services, you name it. All of the main players in Quincy who are behind this wall here. There's about 20 of them trying to piece together what the plan is going to be in the overnight hours. Ameren, Illinois' website reporting that more than 20,600 plus homes are still without power. We're waiting for an update from Emily Andrews, who's the public information officer with Ameren, Illinois here in Adams County. Hopefully to hear more about when power is going to be restored. But at this point, I can tell you that on the way out here from our studios downtown out here to the east side of Quincy, there are some traffic lights that are working on Broadway, but there are many of them that are still out. Also, homes and businesses still without power right now. So what we can tell you in terms of the situation right now is that police, fire, and Ameren crews and emergency crews are going to be working through the night, they say, to try and get power restored as well as parts of the city cleaned up. The tough job, obviously, is you've got many roads that are still impassable with trees down, dozens of power lines, they say, still down. And at this point, they're still trying to get power restored. We'll keep you posted with an update as soon as we have it for you. I'll send it back to you, Lesley.
Gene, thank you so much. And Quincy residents wasted no time assessing their homes and their businesses after today's storm, but they also had to react to damage and debris everywhere. WGEM's Kate Tindall now live in Quincy with more on that part of the story. It was definitely hard to get around town tonight, Kate.
Lesley, I'm standing behind Greek. To me, you see this brick I'm holding. Well, it used to be at the top of this building. You can see that storm damage has caused parts of the roof to collapse, and all around Quincy, businesses and homeowners are dealing with the aftermath of that storm damage. Blackstone building employee Connie Johnson was just coming in to finish up some work.
And it just blew out. I knew it was a tornado. More like straight line winds. I had never seen anything like it.
She had seen nothing like the building window that was the first damage done during the storm, or the next window after that. And then she waited.
I didn't really have time to go anywhere, so just kind of hunkered down and wait for it to pass.
Across town, Janet Nutt didn't hear this tree hit her property that she rents at the corner of 18th and Spring, but she couldn't miss it in the aftermath.
And we were just moving a tenant in on the main floor. That's why I was here. Heard the sirens go off, so we hit the basement. We came out to this.
Nutt said her husband had informed the city of Quincy 2 months ago about needing the tree removed.
He had called the city and said he thought that tree needed to be taken down, and they said they would check into it. So it's done.
Cleanup began along Spring Street. The corner along 20th and Spring closed due to a down power line. Downed trees lining the street. Nutt says tomorrow's cleanup will be as busy as today.
But if you know my husband and my son, they'll be here tomorrow, and it'll probably be done.
Now, there's still going to be work tomorrow on Spring Street where Nutt's house was. There were branches in the road. There were trees on cars on the sides of houses. And there's still going to be a lot of hard work to do tomorrow. Reporting live in Quincy, Kate Tindall, WGEM News.
Yeah, Kate, tomorrow and well after tomorrow as well. Well, all this storm damage hit 18th and Cherry pretty hard this evening as well. Residents were outside just in disbelief because of the damage. WGEM's Bryant Clerkley live from 18th and Cherry tonight with the latest. And Bryant, there's a huge tree on a house there, right?
Lesley, I'm pretty much touching this tree. This tree is gigantic, and it is on residents Kelsey Jorstead and Jeremy Platt's home. Platt says that his sister gave him a call at work to tell him that there was a tree on his house, and he rushed home frantically. Platt says that the tree crashed right on his bedroom, so his bedroom is caved in. He says his home has water damage, and the ceiling is hardly there anymore. He says he still can't believe what's going on.
I mean, when I get a phone call from my dad and my sister saying there's a tree on my house, you know, I'm going to be in a hurry to get home, and I was kind of, really worried about my animals.
And Bryant.
217-228-66. Okay, so the Platt says that he's hoping that the insurance company can take care of the damages as soon as possible, and tonight they're staying with friends. Reporting live in Quincy, I'm Bryant Clerkley, WGEM News.
Yeah, that scene is playing out a lot across the city of Quincy tonight, and as you can imagine, several Quincy parks suffered serious damage in this storm. One was Madison Park at 24th and Main. WGEM's Shavon Anderson is live tonight to show us the damage. Is there really anything left, Shavon?
Lesley, this damage here is just unbelievable. Just here behind me, you can see this tree has splintered from its roots. It's now laying across the driveway. Now, you can't see the rest of the damage because the park is pitch black. But if you can imagine, the playground equipment is gone. The tennis playgrounds are gone. And neighbors that came through here say they cannot believe their eyes. Now, several residents have already been through here just looking at the damage. I actually talked to one man who said he was running through the park when the storm hit. He saw lightning strike a tree in front of him. Other residents say they just came out here to check and see if their friends and neighbors were okay.
Unbelievable. I was telling everybody it looked like a war zone. They said there's a lot of cars crashed, trees all laying all over them, but so many of my friends, they have lost the back end of their houses.
Now, city workers haven't even had time to come assess the damage. Earlier today, 24th and Main and 24th and State both had debris. Those are now clear, but residents say it's going to be a long cleanup in this neighborhood. Reporting live at Madison Park, Shavon Anderson at WGEM News.
Yeah, that could take weeks. Thank you, Shavon.
All right. Well, hey, I was going to give you the lowdown on exactly how this thing all transpired. We watched as we went through the afternoon hours. This storm was taking shape, and there was just a single thunderstorm. Only one developed really today and started to roll from the west to the east. We had severe thunderstorm warnings on this for 45 or for 50 and then 60-mile-an-hour winds. And then as it approached the Quincy area, it took a little bit of a right turn as it was rolling right through Clark County or south of Clark County. It took a right turn, and that really forced out some wind on the front side of this. And within that storm itself, it was blowing, I would say, for at least 15 minutes at around 60 to 70 miles an hour. Kind of shook the building downtown right here where we're at. To put it in perspective, I'd say it's very similar to the storm that rolled through as far as the damage is concerned with the storm that rolled through on June 26th of 2011 in the Quincy area. However, this one looks like it's a little bit more widespread as far as the city itself. So damage everywhere. Most every street has damage in the Quincy as far as trees down. Guess what? Tonight, we're under a partly cloudy sky. No more storms. The forecast in detail coming up in just a minute.
Well, that's some relief. Thanks, Brian. And the American Red Cross has set up a shelter for storm victims. Power outages and phone problems definitely creating challenges tonight, but generators are being set up at the shelter, and they should have power very soon. It's at the Quincy Senior Center at 639 York in downtown Quincy. Volunteers are staffing that shelter. Residents displaced by this storm are encouraged to come to the shelter for a safe place to stay. And just to recap, thousands of people are left in the dark at this point. According to Ameren, Illinois' website, more than 20,000 people lost power after this massive storm tore through the city of Quincy. Those numbers still might even be going up. WGEM's Gene Kennedy again live at the Emergency Command Center here in Quincy. Gene, you're with an Ameren spokesperson who has an update?
Yeah, that's right. We do have an update for you. It's Emily Andrews, who is the Public Information Officer with Adams County, Ameren, Illinois here. We've got about half the city that is still without power right now. What are you telling residents at this point? I mean, when can they expect power to be restored?
We're not sure at this time when the power is going to be restored.
Is this something that could take days? Are we talking beyond that? Any ballpark?
We don't really know at this time.
So, I mean, we're in a point where we've had heat advisories today before this storm hit. What is your best advice to residents out there who are in this weather and without AC potentially?
Residents who are displaced from the storm can go to the senior center. They're setting up a shelter there.
Okay, and what about people who are driving around town? I know there's down power lines as well, roads that are impassable. Are you concerned about folks that are driving around in the area?
Yeah, definitely. If you don't have to be out in the road, don't stay home. And if you do, just use extreme caution.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else that maybe you could pass along to some of our viewers? I know a lot of people want to know when the lights are going to be back on.
Yeah, definitely. We're working on it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Emily Andrews, thank you so much. So again, at this point, there's no timetable. Lesley, we'll certainly keep you posted. We've got, again, more than 20,600 homes still in the dark tonight. Back to you.
Gene, thank you so much. And we've got continuing coverage of this breaking news and this massive storm that tore through the tri-states right after this. Stay with us.